we just have to include it. We just have to include the single quotation mark preceded by the backward slash that refers to the beginning of an escape sequence. So let's have a look. So right now we see that our compiler has printed out the single quotation mark on the command prompt. So what happens if we want to include a backward slash? It's very simple. You include another backward slash just like this, and you run that, and you have your backward slash printed out. So why do we need two backward slashes? The answer is very simple. As I've told you, when we try to include, or when we try to write down or include this single backward slash, it actually tells the compiler that the escape sequence is beginning. But if you delete the other backward slash, it means that this string is included as an escape sequence. So this is an incomplete string, and it will throw an error if we try to build this. So that's why you see there is an error. So the solution is that we need to include two backward slashes. So this one actually tells the compiler that we are beginning, or we're going to use an escape sequence. And what's that escape sequence? It's that backward slash that needs to be printed on the command prompt. So that's how it interprets behind the scenes. There is another escape sequence that's most widely used. It's also used in other programming languages, like which is the newline character, which starts just like any other escape sequence. It starts with the preceding backward slash and it ends with the n, which refers to the newline character. So let me type something right now. This is a new line. Now let's have a look. So as you can see that we have got the decimal value printed on the first line, and there is a second line which is printing out this string. What's happening is that if we include this new line escape sequence, or this new line character before this string, when our compiler tries to read this entire string inside this printf function, it's going to start its reading process from the left, as usual, just like English or the Latin or French or German. So it's going to start reading from the left, and then when it encounters this special character or the escape sequence, it's telling the compiler that print out anything that's coming after this character on a new line. So get a new line whenever you meet this. We are actually telling the compiler that you must get a new line so that you can print anything that's coming after this new line character on a new line. So that's why we see that this message or this string is being printed out on a new line that has been acquired due to the fact that we have included the escape sequence, which is a new line character. And this new line character is just like pressing the enter on your keyboard. So whenever you're using the word processor, the Microsoft Word, and you're typing something on a document, when you need to go to the next line, you immediately press enter. So this enter will take you to the new line, and you can start typing in your message or any other specified stuff. So this was about this escape sequence. Now we're going to look into two other functions, or we're going to get introduced to two other functions which are known as the Scanf function and the get character echo function, which is get che. So let's have a look at what the Scanf function can do for us. Let's remove everything from here, and let's remove everything from this place. So we need this variable to be empty, or maybe we can just keep the value. Let's bring up the scanf function, and then just like the printf function, we will use the same syntax in here, but we're going to get introduced to a new operator which is called the address operator. So what the scanf function essentially does is that when we made the printf function, we knew that it will print out something on the command prompt. But what happens if we try to take some sort of input from our user and we try to output that on our command prompt after we take the input from our user? So we prompt the user to, or we ask the user to print out something on the command prompt, and then we're going to show that on our command prompt. So to prompt the user, or to take the user's input value, or when the user inputs a number, we're going to take that input using this scanf function, and we're going to send that number to the integer variable. So to do that, we simply need to follow the same steps, but there is a difference, and I'm going to show you how that difference will work. So let's say I think you remember that this actually means that we are going to plug in the integer variable, but this plugging is quite different. We need the address operator, then we're going to call in the integer variable. So this is the same variable with an address operator. I'm going to explain how this address operator will work. So let's say integer value before input, and then we're going to print out the actual value that's being stored, or that was stored inside this integer variable, and then we're going to call in the integer variable called I. The next thing that we're going to do is printf integer value after input, or we can change this to user input. Similarly, this will be user input, and then we can add a newline character like this, and similarly in here, let's call the integer like this. So we are done. Now let's have a look.